Maybe we can help each other. How about you and us against the pirates, huh? You got no idea what I'm saying, do you?
Come ahead! Quiet on the set!
This is Michael Faulkner, and it's showtime, the July 10th, 2012 edition of the Weekly Podioplex, brought to you by the Chronic Rift. Starting off the box office report, this weekend's rundown kicks off with number 10 and To Rome with Love, jumping up 7 from 17th with nearly 800 more theaters. At number 9 is Moonrise Kingdom, down 2 from 7th. At number 8 is new release Katy Perry, Part of Me, premiering with $7.1 million on the weekend, with $11.2 million over the 4 days in release. That's less than Justin Bieber Never Say Never's $29.5 million 3-day start, and it's also less than half of Michael Jackson's This Is It's $23.2 million. Of course, Katy Perry isn't as popular as the Jackson or the Bieb, but it was also less than the 3-day opening for the Jonas Brothers' The 3D Concert Experience, which took in $12.5 million on half as many screens. In 7th is Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted, down 2 from 5th. In 6th place is Tyler Perry's Medea's Witness Protection, down 2 from 4th. Coming in at 5th is Magic Mike, down 3 from 2nd as it took $15.6 million for a total of $72.8 million. In 4th is new release Savages, debuting with $16 million. That's the third highest debut in director Oliver Stone's career, behind Wall Street Money Never Sleeps, which took $19 million, and World Trade Center's $18.7 million. It was his best for an R-rated movie. Savages came in lower than Contraband's $24.3 million and The Town's $23.8 million, but it did beat Smokin' Aces, which compared to $14.6 million. Holding steady in 3rd place is Brave, adding $19.6 million to a total of $174 million. In 2nd is last week's winner, Ted, adding another $32.2 million to the cuddly total of $119.8 million. But in 1st this week is new release The Amazing Spider-Man, swinging into 1st place with $62 million over the normal 3-day weekend, with $137 million over the last 6 days. For comparison, Transformers also premiered over 6 days and took in $155.4 million. In comic book reboots, Spider-Man's 6 days beat out Batman Begins, which took $79.5 million, and X-Men First Class with $69.9 million. Within the Spider-Man franchise, it was close to the first movie's $144.2 million 6-day start, though it was way off from Spider-Man 2's $180.1 million and Spider-Man 3's $176.2 million. Let's close out the box office report with a look at what was winning in years gone by. 5 years ago in 2007, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix took number 1 with $77.1 million. The Order of the Phoenix's $44.2 million Wednesday opening gross broke Spider-Man 2's record of $40.4 million for the highest Wednesday gross of all time. 10 years ago in 2002, Men in Black 2 took number 1 again with $24.4 million, surprisingly beating out the top spot for a second weekend despite the popular negative opinion on the movie. It beat out new releases Road to Perdition, Reign of Fire, Halloween Resurrection, and The Crocodile Hunter Collision Course. 20 years ago in 1992, Batman was beat out by Gina Davis playing baseball. A League of Their Own won the top spot with $11.7 million and reached number 1 after its second weekend release. 30 years ago in 1982, E.T. the Extraterrestrial stayed on top for a 6th consecutive week with $13 million. And 40 years ago in 1972, Butterflies Are Free took number 1 from The Apes with $3.9 million. The box office premieres for the week of July 13th want to put the spider on ice. And they start with Ice Age Continental Drift, an animated adventure comedy starring Ray Romano, Dennis Leary, and John Leguizamo.
Excuse me.
I don't think that was you.
That's great, it starts with an earthquake.
Oh, my whole familia.
See? He still hugs his parents.
Ellie!
Hold me.
When the world falls apart. No matter how long it takes, I will find you! History's greatest heroes.
Granny, you're alive.
Hey, Sydney, this is
is my first bath in decades.
I don't want to see that.
We'll keep it together.
My mother once told me that bad news was just good news in disguise.
Was this before she abandoned you?
Yes, it was.
I'll push him overboard. You guys say it was an accident.
I'm in.
This summer,
Battle stations! Surrender your ship or face my fury.
2 words. Anger management.
the end of the world
We're all gonna survive this. Okay, maybe they won't.
is just the tip of the iceberg.
Hey, little fellas. How about you and us against the pirates? You got no idea what I'm saying, do you?
May I try? Wugga, 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 wugga. Booda, 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 booda.
That they got?
Everyone, please, don't panic!
No one's gonna stop me from getting back to my family.
Come on, Ocean. Is that the best you can do? Holy crap!
Ice Age Continental Drift.
You're pretty soft for a saber.
Excuse me, I happen to be a remorseless assassin.
Diego Poo. Hey, I made you another coral necklace. He keeps losing them.
Manny, Diego, and Sid embark on another adventure after their continent is set adrift. Using an iceberg as a ship, they encounter sea creatures and battle pirates as they explore a new world. Ice Age Continental Drift is rated PG. This week is also big for limited releases. We have 7 titles. The first is Easy Money, a crime thriller starring Joel Kinnaman, Mateus Varela, and Dragomir Mirsic. Easy Money is a 3-tiered story centered around drugs and organized crime, and focuses on a young man who becomes a runner for a coke dealer. Easy Money is rated R. The second title is Red Lights, a horror thriller starring Sigourney Weaver, Robert De Niro, and Cillian Murphy. Psychologist Margaret Matheson and her assistant study paranormal activity, which leads them to investigate a world-renowned psychic who has resurfaced years after his toughest critic mysteriously passed away. Red Lights is rated R. Number 3 this week is The Imposter, a biographical documentary starring Adam O'Brien, Anna Rubin, and Kathy Dresbach. The Imposter is a documentary centered on a young Frenchman who convinces a grieving Texas family that he is their 16-year-old son who went missing for 3 years. The Imposter is rated R. The fourth limited release is Alps, a drama starring Stavros Sikalis, Aris Sevitalis, and Johnny Vrekris. A group of people start a business where they impersonate the recently deceased in order to help their clients through the grieving process. Alps is not rated. The fifth on the list is Trishna, a drama starring Frida Pinto, Riz Ahmed, and Anurag Kashyap. This is the story of the tragic relationship between the son of a property developer and the daughter of an auto rickshaw owner. Trishna is rated R and opens in Los Angeles and New York City. Number 6 this week is Ball Player, Pelotero, a sports documentary starring Jean Carlos Batista, Miguel Angel Sano, and John Leguizamo. 2 top baseball prospects in the Dominican Republic face fierce competition and corruption as they chase their big league dreams. Ball Player, Pelotero is not rated. And the last limited release this week is Union Square, a drama starring Tammy Blanchard, Mira Sorvino, and Michael Rispoli. Jenny, who has rejected her tumultuous family for a more ordered life, gets a surprise visit from her sister Lucy at a critical time, right at the moment where she feels ready to commit to her longtime fiancé. Union Square is not rated. Next up, we'll take a look at the home entertainment slate for the week of July 10th, and we begin, as always, with new releases on DVD and Blu-ray, and this week we have 2 titles. The first is American Reunion, a comedy starring Jason Biggs, Allison Hannigan, and Sean William Scott. Jim, Michelle Stifler, and their friends reunite in East Great Falls, Michigan for their high school reunion. American Reunion is rated R. The other title is Margaret, a drama starring Anna Paquin, Matt Damon, and Mark Ruffalo. A young woman witnesses a bus accident and is caught up in the aftermath, where the question of whether or not it was intentional affects many people's lives. Margaret is rated R. Next, we look at the releases coming from TV to DVD and Blu-ray this week, and we begin with Warehouse 13, Season 3, from 2011, starring Eddie McClintock, Joanne Kelly, and Saul Rubinek. Return to the mysterious warehouse for the most thrilling season yet of sci-fi's most popular series ever. Pete, Micah, Claudia, and Artie are joined by a new agent, Steve Jinx, as they pursue dangerous new missions and face a new, powerful enemy whose vendetta against the warehouse knows no bounds. Filled with explosive action, fantastical artifacts, and inventive gadgetry, this collectible 3-disc set is packed with every Season 3 episode and riveting bonus features, including a never-before-seen episode of the webisode series of Monsters and Men. The next TV title this week is The Glades Season 2 from 2011, starring Matt Passmore, Keely Sanchez, and Carlos Gomez. Matt Passmore is back as Jim Longworth, a Chicago detective who relocates to South Florida in the compelling and wildly humorous second season of The Glades. When he's not hitting the links, Longworth is haunted by old ghosts, facing an intriguing caseload of baffling homicides. Amid mobsters, NASCAR drivers, bootleggers, and sideshow freaks, everyone is a suspect. Meanwhile, Jim and Callie's fledgling relationship is threatened when her husband is released from prison and an old flame reappears. And Jim will need a lot more than good looks and devilish charm when a final standoff leaves Callie's life in jeopardy. Next up is Father Dowling Mysteries, the second season from 1990, starring Tom Bosley, Tracy Nelson, and Mary Wicks. In the spirit of Murder, She Wrote and Diagnosis Murder, this series also features a main character in an unlikely profession for solving murders. Wherever Father Dowling and his assistant Sister Oskowski go, someone turns up dead. While the local police are usually quick to find a likely suspect, the snooping priest just as quickly finds a good reason to take a closer look. Next we move into Dark Shadows, the complete original series from 1966 to 1971, starring Jonathan Freed, Laura Parker, Catherine Lee Scott, and David Selby. This is the second printing of the deluxe edition box set containing every one of the 1,225 eerie episodes of the original Gothic suspense series. With its alluring tales of Gothic mystery and supernatural intrigue, Dark Shadows became one of the most popular daytime series of all time. Since first airing on ABC TV from 1966 to 1971, Dark Shadows has earned the reputation of being one of the most unusual and enduring programs in television history. The character of Barnabas Collins, a guilt-ridden 175-year-old vampire, brought the show tremendous success. The next two titles aren't new to DVD, but they are new to Blu-ray. That's The Big Bang Theory, the complete first and second seasons from 2007 to 2008, starring Johnny Galecki, Jim Parsons, Kaylee Cuoco, Simon Helberg, and Kumail Nayar. In Season 1, we meet university physicists Leonard and Sheldon, who know whether to use an integral or differential to solve the area under a curve, but they don't have a clue about girls, or dating, or clothes, or parties, or having fun, or basically life. So when a pretty blonde named Penny moves into the apartment across the hall, the guys decide to get an education outside of the classroom. In Season 2, the science of funny is back. At work, physicists Leonard and Sheldon and their geek pals conquer the cosmos. At home, real life, from dating to driving, conquers them. This season, Leonard gets a girl. So does, surprisingly, Sheldon. Howard drives the Mars rover into a ditch. Raj woos a Terminator. Gorgeous girl next door Penny falls under the spell of Age of Conan. And super smart Leslie Winkle reduces mere men to spineless jellyfish. And to wind out TV on DVD and Blu-ray, we have two entries from Gallifrey. The first is Doctor Who: The Crotons, from 1968 and 1969, starring Patrick Troughton, Fraser Hines, Wendy Padbury, and Philip Madoc. When the TARDIS arrives on the planet of the Gons, the second Doctor, Jamie, and Zoe discover a world ruled and enslaved by the Crotons. The brightest Gons are always chosen to serve as the companions of the Crotons and are never seen again. The Doctor and his companions decide to put a stop to their rule, but in doing so inadvertently unleash the true power and terror of the Crotons instead. The second title is Doctor Who: Death to the Daleks, from 1974, starring John Pertwee and Elizabeth Sladen. A power failure in the TARDIS draws it off course, and the third Doctor and Sarah Jane Smith end up stranded on the bleak planet of Exelon. They soon meet members of an Earth expedition in a similar situation. The humans are searching for a rare mineral, but first they must find out what is draining their power and avoid what's inside another grounded spaceship. The Doctor's oldest enemies, the Daleks. And now we'll round out this week's home entertainment slate with Blu-rays from the past. The first entry this week is Outland, a crime thriller from 1981 starring Sean Connery, Francis Sternhagen, and Peter Boyle. In the distant future, a police marshal stationed at the remote mining colony on the Jupiter moon of Io uncovers a drug smuggling conspiracy and gets no help from the populace when he later finds himself marked for murder. Outland is rated R. The next title is Chariots of Fire, a sports drama from 1981 starring Ben Cross, Ian Charleson, and Nicholas Farrell. Two British track athletes, one a determined Jew and the other a devout Christian, compete in the 1924 Olympics. Chariots of Fire is rated PG. The last title on the list this week is Frequency, a drama from 2000 starring Dennis Quaid, Jim Caviezel, and John Doyle. An accidental cross-time radio link connects father and son across 30 years. The son tries to save his father's life, but then must fix the consequences. Frequency is rated PG-13. The Weekly Podioplex will continue after this short message.
Yes, it's a Christian podcast. Yes, I did just say, piss you off. A small little furry creature.
Well, your microphone already farted on us.
There's been a change in how you can I can't talk. You have Baptists, you have Catholics, Lutherans, all these different churches. I call them different flavors. We're all fruits. Just not all the same kind. Boy, you tell some Christians, you can listen to music like that. They will have a cow plop right there on the street in front of you. What, when, where, how, and why? Yeah, I had it right. Christians aren't supposed to say and they're not supposed to say and we surely aren't supposed to say. Aren't you glad I said armpit? I don't have a knife sharp enough to cut my beer.
I like my beer with a spoon,
yes.
please.
Sis.
For all the evil that comes out of North Carolina. God, that almost. Download the Righteous Dudes Dudecast at therighteousdude.wordpress.com.
That's giving him way too much credit.
Welcome back. Next, we'll take a look at the new releases for Netflix streaming for the week of July 8th to July 14th. July 8th has 4 new titles coming to the stream. The first is Caught Inside, an action thriller from 2010 starring Ben Oxenbould, Daisy Betts, and Sam Linden. Surfing charters are meant to be a trip to paradise. With 6 surfers stuck in a boat with a psychopath, there's bound to be some friction. Caught Inside is rated R. The second title is Cowboys and Indians, a western from 2011 starring Alvin Cowan, Steve Gillimet, and Katie Maloney. With the fate of the frontier hanging in the balance, a former cavalry officer is called back in action to rescue a beautiful maiden from the clutches of the renegade Black Claw Indians, led by a frightening medicine man. Cowboys and Indians is rated PG-13. The third title is The Odds, a mystery from 2011 starring Tyler Johnston, Julia Maxwell, and Jaron Brandt Bartlett. The Odds is a murder mystery set in the world of illegal teenage gambling. A 17-year-old must find his best friend's killer before the game is exposed. The Odds is rated R. And the last title for July 8th is called Pimp, a thriller from 2010 starring Robert Cavanaugh, Danny Dyer, and Billy Boyd. Pimp is a week in the life of Woody, a Soho pimp as seen through the eyes of a concealed documentary camera, a week which spirals brutally out of control. Pimp is not rated. July 9th only has 1 title to bring to the stream, that's Pastorella, a comedy from 2011 starring Carlos Cobos, Eduardo España, and Ana Saradia. Agent Jesus Juarez, a.k.a. Chucho, has always played the devil in his town's nativity play. This Christmas, when the new pastor of the church recasts the role, the two men engage in a battle between good and evil. Pastorella is rated R. July 10th is a day of movies about same-sex relationships and documentaries. There are 8 new titles coming to the stream. I'll highlight 4 of them here, but all the titles will be listed in the show notes. The first is Desert Hearts, a romantic drama from 1985 starring Helen Shaver, Patricia Charbonneau, and Audra Lindley. It's 1950s Nevada, and Professor Vivian Bell arrives to get a divorce. She's unsatisfied with her marriage and feels out of place at the ranch she stays on, and she finds herself increasingly drawn to Kay Rivers, an open and self-assured lesbian and the ranch owner's daughter. Desert Hearts is rated R. The second highlighted title this week is Something's Gonna Live, a documentary from 2010 starring Robert F. Boyle, Henry Bumstead, and Conrad L. Hall. Focusing on Hollywood production designer Robert Boyle, Something's Gonna Live is a reminder that not all of Hollywood's greatest stars are actors. Something's Gonna Live is not rated. The third highlighted title is Fastest, a documentary from 2011 starring Jorge Lorenzo, Ewan McGregor, and Valentino Rossi. Shot around the world in 2010 and 2011 and narrated by Ewan McGregor, Fastest captures the intense and thrilling reality of the MotoGP World Championship, documenting a pivotal moment in the sport. Fastest is not rated. And the last of the highlighted titles for July 10th is Big Eden, a drama from 2000 starring Ira Gross, Eric Shellwig, and Tim DeKay. Big Eden is a tiny fictional town in northwestern Montana, as Preston Sturges or Frank Capra might have envisioned it. Timber and cowboy country. This is the story of Henry Hart, a successful New York artist who returns to the town of his childhood to care for the ailing grandfather who raised him and finds love in the process. Big Eden is rated PG-13. July 11th has one title that's Stuck Between Stations, a romantic drama from 2011 starring Sam Rosen, Zoe Lister-Jones, and Josh Hartnett. Former high school classmates reunite by chance during a chaotic party-filled evening. Stuck Between Stations is rated R. There are no new titles for July 12th, but there are two new titles for July 13th. The first is About 50, a comedy from 2011 starring Martin Gray, Drew Pillsbury, and Wendy Malick. During a holiday getaway to Palm Springs, two 50-year-old men find unexpected results while trying to relive their younger days in this comic coming-of-age story about the coming of age. About 50 is rated R. The second title is Kevin Hart, Laugh at My Pain, a documentary from 2011 starring Kevin Hart and Niam Lynn. Funny man Kevin Hart is back and starring in the theatrical version of his 2011 Laugh at My Pain comedy tour that swept the nation and earned more than $15 million in ticket sales. Kevin Hart, Laugh at My Pain is rated R. And finally, July 14th has two new titles. The first is Titanic, a dramatic TV miniseries from 2012 starring Peter MacDonald, Stephen Waddington, and Glenn Blackhall. The world's largest ship, the Titanic, meets with disaster when it strikes an iceberg on its maiden voyage. Titanic is rated TV PG. And the last title this week from Netflix is Rampart, a crime drama from 2011 starring Woody Harrelson, Ben Foster, and Sigourney Weaver. Set in 1999 Los Angeles, veteran police officer Dave Brown, the last of the renegade cops, works to take care of his family and struggles for his own survival. Rampart is rated R. And finally, we'll wrap this edition to go with three items in the Quick Flicks. Ubisoft wasn't fond of the Prince of Persia film adaptation for Disney, mostly because audiences didn't like it in general. As a result, the game developer is going independent for films based on the Assassin's Creed games, and have tapped Michael Fassbender to produce and star in the films. The Assassin's Creed story follows Desmond Miles, who is able to relive ancestral memories, which tells the story in the eras of the Crusades, the Renaissance, and the American Revolution. The larger story showcases Desmond uncovering secrets involving the modern version of the Knights Templar, an end-of-the-world prophecy, and a pre-human civilization, all through those genetic memories. Fassbender will probably play both Desmond and each of the ancestors. Ubisoft was in talks with Sony at one point to adapt Assassin's Creed, but they decided to do it themselves and sell it when they're done. On March 21st, 2011, principal photography began on Peter Jackson's two-part adaptation of The Hobbit. As of July 6, 2012, principal photography has wrapped, and the crew posted a note to commemorate the milestone. Quote, "We made it. Shoot day 266 and the end of principal photography on The Hobbit. Thanks to our fantastic cast and crew for getting us this far, and to all of you for your support. Next stop, the cutting room. Oh, and Comic-Con. Cheers, Peter J." Unquote. The first film, The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, hits theaters on December 14th, 2012, while the second part, The Hobbit, There and Back Again, will be released on December 13th, 2013. Director Darren Aronofsky has been working on Noah, a film starring Russell Crowe as the titular character in the adaptation of the biblical story of Noah's Ark. The synopsis reads, quote, "In a world ravaged by human sin, Noah is given a divine mission, to build an ark to save creation from the coming flood," end quote. The screenplay was written by Aronofsky and Ari Handel, revised by Gladiator screenwriter John Logan, and features Emma Watson, Jennifer Connelly, Logan Lerman, Ray Winstone, and Douglas Booth. Well, now to add more talent to that mix, Aronofsky has just announced that Sir Anthony Hopkins will appear in the movie, and suggests that he's playing Methuselah. In Christian religion, Methuselah is the grandfather of Noah and the longest-lived person mentioned in the Bible. According to the book of Genesis, Methuselah lived to be 969 years old and died just before the Great Flood that is the center of Noah's story. Noah is set for release on March 28th, 2014. If you want to discuss anything you heard on this week's edition, please take a moment to get in touch. You can surf on over to chronicgrift.com and leave a note in the forums. You can leave a voicemail at 888-866-9010 or write to John at chronicgrift.com. You can follow us on Tumblr, tweet us on Twitter, check into the network on GetClue, watch the classics on Funny or Die, give us a thumbs up on Stitcher Radio, and leave us a review on iTunes. You can also find the Weekly Podioplex and the Chronic Rift on Facebook and Google+. If you decide to pick up any of this week's new releases, why not do it through our Amazon store? You get the newest entertainment at Amazon's low prices and high-quality service, and each purchase you make through the store supports the Chronic Rift. Look for that link in our show notes. The Weekly Podioplex is a Lucky Shot production and is produced by John S. Drew. This is Michael Faulkner. Thanks for listening. I'll see you at the theater. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 limited releases. Jim, Michelle, Stifler, and their friends reunite in the East Great Falls, Michigan. In the East Great Falls, Michigan, because there's only one East Great Falls, Michigan. The next two titles are not new to DVD, but they are new to Blu-ray. That's the Big Bang Berry. Big Bang Berry. Woo!
Doctor, should that red light be flashing?
Listen.
Can't hear anything.
Yes, exactly. Nothing. Some power from this planet to stop the TARDIS's energy banks.
You mean that we're stuck here forever?
Are you a military expedition?
MSc.
Master of Science?
Marine Space Corps.
The relief ship is here! Come on, quickly!
Here she comes!
The Earth creatures are to be exterminated!
Wait, you can't!
Total extermination! Fire! 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 Total power failure in armament circuit!
Well. Daleks without the power to kill.
I think our best interest will be served by joining forces.
The truce exists between our party and yours.
Don't you trust them an inch.
Substitute weaponry functioning satisfactorily.
Take cover!
We've walked into a trap. Locate the enemy.
What are you doing with her?
She is to be sacrificed.
This planet is now under Dalek control.
We are powerless to stop them.
Fugitives are to be exterminated on sight.
You must stay silent or you will destroy us all. It is beyond our power to help him now.
That's a wrap.